We've all took exams. We've all crammed last second just so we could pass our exam, not to memorize it for the long term, or not to recall it later on, just to pass the exam, just to ace it, and just to make a good grade. Now here's a question. How many of us have took an exam, let's say, in the last month, and crammed last second just so we could ace this test and do good on it? And we did do good on it. Probably a lot of us. Now, if we were to take that exam today, would we be able to make that same grade, an ace of it? I probably wouldn't, and I'm sure most of us probably wouldn't either. We just cram that information just to learn it for the test. No other time, not to truly memorize and truly learn it, just to know it for the test. Much of the information is lost and just learned so a good grade will be achieved on the exam. And that is why today I'm proposing that exams are not a proper way to determine if a student has knowledge of a topic. Now that I've stated that exams do not determine a person's knowledge of a topic, I will provide statistics to why this is so. First, cramming information does not help you remember information for the long run. A theory called the level of process theory was tested by scientists, and they tested this theory. Amy Reichfeld in 2016 concluded that the deep processing led to a better understanding than shallow processing. Now, what is this? Deep processing is when you learn something periodically. You learn it over, maybe say a couple weeks, maybe even a month. And shallow processing is when you learn something over a day, just a short period of time, cramming for a test. And this means when someone learns something over a long period of time, they're way more likely to recall it later in the future versus when they cram it. Because when they learn it periodically, they truly learn the topic. They don't really, like cramming, they don't truly learn it. They just learn it just good enough to make the exam. When exams are new, students do the shallow processing just to make a good grade. They cram information, just know it good enough to pass the exam, but later on, they don't know any of it and they don't truly learn it. Instead of going at a steady pace, they'll help them learn, like I do sometimes, and I'm sure most of us do too. They stuff their brain with information just to be able to pass the test. And in many people's cases, this works. That's why they do it, and exams are used. So professors, colleges, and even the person, they can be tricked into think they truly know it when they don't. And without exams, students would not cram this information. They would take the time to learn it because they're not judged off exam grades. They would truly get to learn the topic and process it in long-term memorization. Next, an effective way that hurts people is test anxiety, and it's a real factor. And a study conducted by UCLA in 2016 by Hilary Fan states that 40% of students have significant test anxiety that interfere with their performance capability. Now, what is test anxiety? Test anxiety is when you get into a test, you're just so anxious about a test, you're nervous, you have to make a good grade, your family's pushing you to make a good grade, everybody is, and then you just get anxious about it and you can't perform to what you do. And a survey was done by Oxford Learning in 2018 that said students who struggle with test anxiety typically fall a half a letter grade below their peers. And they do know the topic. They truly do know the topic, but this anxiety hurts them. So between 40 to 60% of these students suffer test anxiety. And this test anxiety makes them score lower than what they truly know. And it doesn't truly process what they know. And when students take exam, anxiety kicks in. They are too focused on making good grades, lose all track of focus. Material that has been reviewed for hours leaves their mind because anxiety takes in. When they see their exam back and see the questions they missed, they truly know what the answer was. But since test anxiety got the best of them, they just folded. And finally, exams are not straightforward. Many professors try to trick their students on exams to make them even more challenging. Rick Shannon in 2018 concluded that 40% of students believed that professors tried to trick them on their exam and didn't truly make the question straightforward. And when students are tricked, this does not truly tell if they know the material or not. It tests them to see how thoroughly they read the exam and how much attention to detail they pay, and not really if they know the material at hand. If they read the problem incorrectly or not catch the phrase the professor made, they'd be penalized even if they understood the material. So if they understood this material and still got tricked on the exam, it doesn't reflect what they truly know. It just reflects that their professor tried to trick them. And all in all, exams do not truly assess if a student knows the material at hand, and exams are not a proper way to determine if a student has true knowledge of a topic.